with that being said, time to dive into the games this weekend. And look, this is an interesting year for the podcast because we are going to have the NFC East and the AFC West. They're kind of the bedfellows this year for those two divisions. So we're going to start to get a little bit of, mix up or, some crossings of the streams, if you will. So normally we'd start with the AFC West, but the way it all kind of plays out, it's easier to start in the NFC East this time. So I will get this one started. We got the Los Angeles Raiders heading across country to face the Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under is going to be...
Rams.
What did I say?
Raiders.
Oh, my goodness. Yikes. Thank you. Rams, Los Angeles Rams. This is in the 1980s, Brandon. Los Angeles Rams are heading to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. 3.5-point favorites are the Birds. The over-under is 44 in terms of the money line, plus 160 for the Rams, minus 185 for the Eagles. All right. I'm going to start with the Rams first because I got plenty on the Eagles, but the Rams have done exactly what they've needed to do. Look, they're 2-0. Maybe not the most impressive wins you will see, but I think with all things considering with the Rams and the big question marks about Matthew Stafford and in the preseason, things like that, excuse me, I think they're just fine. I also do think, I thought that the Rams were the third best team in the NFC behind the Eagles and the Packers. I think that can still very well come true, but Raider Jim, you alluded to it in our week 2 thoughts. That NFC West might be a gauntlet. It's going to be very difficult to get through that division unscathed. So I think the Rams look good. I've been, always a big fan of Sean McVay and what they can put together. On the Eagles side of things, obviously, look, the Eagles are 2-0. They get a field goal victory over the Chiefs. And all anybody wants to talk about, which is fine. I really don't care because, again, read the hat. I'm a defending Super Bowl champ. Peasants' opinions don't matter to me. But a lot of talk about yardage and how many touchdowns this person has thrown or how many catches this guy has. Look, at the end of the day, the Eagles are 2-0. Maybe not the most impressive offensive performances, but I also do think that's a positive. If you can beat, I think the Cowboys are going to be better than expected. Where they end up in the grade, blah, 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 that's up for debate. I think the Chiefs are one of the best teams in the AFC. So, it's not like we took down the Panthers and the Saints back-to-backs and we struggled with them. So I do think there is something with that. Not playing your best game and still getting a win, that used to matter. But, again, it's Philadelphia. I get it. We're not the nicest people in the world, so I understand. But with that being said, I do think this is going to be a very difficult game for the Eagles. I'm going to take the Rams plus 3.5. Look, 3.5-point spread for me. It's really hard to get me to give the points away. So I'm going to take the points here. I like the Rams plus 3.5. Wouldn't be surprised to see a money line come through. I think the Rams have the type of personnel. They're very familiar with the Eagles. This was a team that was 1 or 2 throws away from eliminating the Eagles last year. Who knows? If that game isn't a snow game, maybe the Rams beat the Eagles. And we're talking about something very different right now. I like the Rams in this one. I think the Eagles still going to take a couple weeks to figure all this offensive stuff out. I'm not worried about it. In terms of the over-under, I'm going to take the under. Again, I understand the offense has struggled, but we're 2-0, and this is an offense that doesn't need to air it out. This isn't an experimental offense. This isn't a wildcat like, oh, will it work? This offense won the Super Bowl last year. So I'm not worried about it. We do have a new play caller. But again, I think it is going to take some time to fully get rolling, which is fine. You don't want to be playing your best football in September. I'm not panicking. I don't think a whole lot of Eagles fans are in general, but give me the Rams plus 3.5 under 44. I got this as like a 20-17 game for the Eagles. Raider Jim, your thoughts? Rams at Eagles.
Yeah, everybody's 2-0. Somebody comes out with a loss after this one, and it's too bad. Now, here's what I think is going to be the big difference in this one. One of the differences will be that Rams defense. The Rams defense is solid, and they are going to come out and they're going to play a solid game again against Philadelphia. But the difference is going to be on the other side of the ball, and that's going to be on Jalen Hurts' legs, because he gives them the dimension of he can get lucky and throw it down the field and hit somebody, but he runs. He can run. He's got a lot of yardage already, just 2 games. The Rams don't have that, so it's going to be, I don't want to say it's easier to defend against the Rams. That just sounds silly to say that, but I think the mobility in the quarterback position for Philadelphia is going to be the difference. Same time saying that, I don't think that they're going to put points on the board, but they're not going to win this one. They're going to cover this one, or they might win this one. But give me the Rams +4 on this one. I can see this one being 28-24 real easy, and I'm going to take the over as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, again,
Nice
this is a
good game.
Yeah, great game. Again, Fox, I think, puts their quote unquote America's game of the week like before the season, essentially. And it is a 10 a.m. game for us on the West Coast. But yeah, I really think this is probably, outside of our Monday night game, I think this is the best game of the weekend. Really excited to see where the Eagles kind of stack up against a true contender in the NFC. And again, I think the Rams look around in that division and go, we got to get as many wins as possible out of this division because it's going to be tough. But